This is, in case you missed it, NFL Week 2, where I'll be going over one reason why each NFL team won this week and one reason why each NFL team lost this week. Let's get right into it. In the first game, we got the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football, with the Bills beating the Dolphins. And the one reason why the Bills won was James Cook having 3 touchdowns in the first half, which really put the game out of reach, really from the jump. And the Dolphins couldn't really respond to that, especially what happened later on in the game with Tua getting concussed, and we don't know now how long he's going to be out, and can the Dolphins stay afloat for that long too? And with the Dolphins, it just came down to their run defense. They couldn't really stop any type of run that the Bills threw at them today, and it wasn't. The run defense really needed to get fixed up. They really want to be able to keep afloat while Tua is out. And shout out to the Bills for seeing that and exposing it. And Josh Allen really not having to do that much today. And that's what some games you're gonna have to need like this with this type of offense. Just hopefully Josh Allen plays turnover free and he doesn't bring out that other person he talked about that just turns the ball over. Next game we have is the Cowboys versus the Saints, with the Saints beating the Cowboys. And for the Saints, the reason why they won really came out of Alvin Kamara having over 100 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns. And for the Cowboys, it was just basically, I said run defense, but I say it's the whole defense, because they couldn't stop nothing that day. They couldn't stop a basic wide zone, outside zone play. They couldn't stop some inside zones. They gave up 190-yard rushing. They gave up a deep bomb to Rashid Sahib that basically ran by, split both the safeties and ran by them. And even in the wide zone, you got to have your corners and safety be ready to tackle. Some guys you looking disinterested in tackling sometimes. My slot corner sometimes looked interested in tackling. Like, you can't do that. Like, you got to be able to tackle, because this is the type of games you're going to get later down the road with teams that want to run outside zone. You like the 49ers, for example, even the Eagles, they ran some outside zone last night. You're going to have to be ready for those type of games. Still, like, you got to be better on defense for that. You got to show effort. You got to earn that right to be able to rush the passer instead of always be ready to rush the passer. You got to be able to stop the run first, then you can rush the passer.
Alonso, this is the 7th time. This is the fucking 7th time I'm calling out your name. You are just an absolute shambolic defender. Shambolic rubbish defender. You don't deserve to play for Chelsea Football Club. You don't deserve to wear the badge. Get out of my club. Get out. Get out.
The next game is the Commanders versus the New York Giants, with the Commanders beating the Giants. And the one reason why the Commanders won was their defense, only holding the Giants to 18 points throughout the whole game. So in their offense struggling, only being able to score field goals, not touchdowns, and really holding down. It really was kind of similar to the Steelers versus Falcon game last week, where their Steelers offense couldn't score a touchdown, only field goals, and the defense had a ball out. And that's what the Commanders did. And for the Giants, the reason why they lost was their offense. You you can't just go out there and score more. You gotta go out there and get more points on the board. You can't be settling out there, and with your defense on the other side holding the other team just field goal, field goal, field goal. You should go out there and easily win that game, but you got to convert on certain drives. The next game we have is the New York Jets versus the Tennessee Titans, and with the Jets beating the Titans, and the one reason why the Jets won was Aaron Rodgers. Just Aaron Rodgers coming out there playing turnover, free ball, going out there leading his team to touchdown drives, and being able to go out there and lead his team to the win. And then on the other side, you had a Will Levis, which is the reason why the Titans lost this week again. The Titans could be 2-0 this season, but it just came down to their quarterback play, Will Levis, having another crucial turnover again, another head scratcher fumble for some reason in the red zone. You can't do that. And it came down to it cost them points from that drive. And you look at the score of the game, them losing by 7. That could have been the 7 points they needed either to go down and win the drive, or even have the game go to overtime. But Will Levis has to take care of the ball better in order for this team to win. The next game you have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Detroit Lions. The Buccaneers beating the Lions, moving on 2-0 in the year. And for the Buccaneers, the reason why they won was their defense only allowed 16 points, which is enough in today's league to help your offense go out there and win, which their offense did eventually go out there and win the game for them. And for the Lions, I say it was their offense not being able to get going, only scoring 16 points, one touchdown in the game, and Jared Goff throwing two crucial interceptions, which didn't help them. And you can't really do that to your defense out there with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side playing out of his mind, almost having 5 sacks in the game, doing everything he can, make sure y'all win this game, and y'all just let them down. The next game we have is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Cleveland Browns, with the Browns beating the Jaguars. And for the Browns, the reason why they won is their defense going out there holding the Jaguars to under 20 points, getting after them in the pass rush, making it hard for them to complete passes across the field, making it hard for the run game to get going too. And for the Jaguars, I say is their offense. They often kind of look dysfunctional out there, especially that left side of the line. Your left tackle is getting beat all day, and some plays Trevor Lawrence wouldn't wait for the play to develop. He would just not trust his line and start to improvise instead of waiting for the play to develop. There were some plays out there he did wait for it to develop, and it came out good, but you just gotta wait sometimes for the play to develop, and you gotta convert when you get down into the end zone. The next game we have is the New England Patriots versus the Seattle Seahawks, with the Seahawks beating the Patriots in overtime. And the reason why the Seahawks won was Geno Smith not having a run game really for the whole game with no Kenneth Walker, and going out there just making what he can make with his passing and his sometimes having to run the ball himself. He he basically looking good out there, looking like one of the top quarterbacks right now in the NFC through these two games. And for the Patriots, it was as their offense, Jacoby Brissett just looking like Jacoby Brissett. I don't know why we just still seeing Brissett out there, not only being able to go out there and still score under 20 points again. It's really not something we haven't seen before. And all we worry about right now is when will Drake May get his start. The next game is the Colts versus the Packers, with the Packers coming out on top, beating the Colts. And the reason why the Packers won came down to their defense, holding the Colts to only 10 points throughout the game, forcing Anderson into 3 interceptions, and looked pretty good out there. And for the Colts, it came out to their offense. Like the play calling looked kind of suspect to me, with one drive out there with Anderson doing an interception. That whole drive, Jonathan Taylor was out there, your best weapon on offense right at this point, that was gashing the Packers all day and on the ground. Even your defense came back and showed up, and through only allowed at that point, I say 10, 13 points, and then for the game 16 points. That should be enough for y'all to come out and win it, especially against a backup quarterback that threw under 130 yards. Like, I should be able to win that game. That's like a game that I know they want back. The next game we have is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Las Vegas Raiders, with the Raiders beating the Ravens. And for the Raiders, the reason why they won was their second half offense being able to come back from behind a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Minshew finding his playmakers in Brock Bowers and Devontae Adams, and being able to lead his team down the field for a game-winning drive. And for the Ravens, it came out to their coaching again, especially Tom Monken and Harbaugh. Like, Monkey, you got to stop taking Derrick Henry out the game in the fourth quarter. Like, you only get one or two carries the whole fourth quarter. That's not, especially when you have a lead. You got to start feeding Henry. Harbaugh, you got to stop doing these dumb challenges. You're giving out timeouts might come valuable later, like on that final drive that could have been valuable for Lamar, that helped you easily get in the field goal range if you had timeouts.
You blew it, man.
The next game we have is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Carolina Panthers. The Chargers beating the Panthers, and for the Chargers, the reason why they won was their rushing attack again, with J.K. Dobbins leading the way again, over 100 yards and a touchdown, looking like he's Ohio State J.K. Dobbins year one. J.K. Dobbins with Baltimore. And for the Panthers, it was their offense looking dysfunctional. It looked like they couldn't complete a pass over 10 yards, which leads up to the news we found out during this week that Bryce Young will be benched for Andy Dalton. And we'll see was it Bryce Young or was that offensive line, which I think it was the offensive line, but they'll see. We'll all see on Sunday. The next game we have is the Rams versus the Cardinals. The Cardinals blowing out the Rams, and the Cardinals, it was just their offense. Kyler Murray finally looking Marvin Harrison Jr. way, giving him the ball. Two of his catches went for touchdowns, and they just jumped out on the Rams early, and they never looked back. And for the Rams, it was just I just said everything. Just not having no type of run game. Cooper Cup getting hurt, really hurting their game plan. No Cup, no Puka. Just not having now you're having your two top receivers out there. O line banged up. It's just not looking good for them, and we'll see when they get their first win. And the next game we have is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Denver Broncos, with the Steelers beating the Broncos. And for the reason why the Steelers run came down to their defense. Again, going out there now, allowing a touchdown again, having allowed a touchdown throughout the first 2 weeks of the season, only allowing 6 points, getting after Bo Nix, getting 2 interceptions off of Bo Nix. So defense out there looking like a top 5 unit again. And for the Broncos, it came down to the offense. Bo Nix, he just can't complete a pass. Look like he can't complete a pass over 10 yards. It just looks like a waste of a draft pick getting him in the first round. He just doesn't look like an NFL quarterback to me. In our next game, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals, with the Chiefs winning on a last-minute field goal against the Cincinnati Bengals. And for the Chiefs, the reason why they won, it came down to their defense. They came out, played a good game against Joe Burrow and them. They even had a fumble return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, which gave the Chiefs the lead. And they were able to hold the Bengals on one drive when they were driving mid to late fourth quarter, and the result of only a field goal. Shout out to the Chiefs defense. And for the Bengals, it just came down to that last drive, that crucial penalty on fourth down. You just can't have it. You just can't come early right there. You just got to play better, sound defense on that last drive, and you win the game. But that penalty essentially was the game right there. After that penalty happened, they basically were in Harrison Buccaneer's reigns, and basically the game was over. And the next game we had, which was the Sunday night game, we had the Bears versus the Texans, with the Texans beating the Bears. And for the Texans, it was their defense only allowing the Bears to have 13 points, having a great run defense, forcing Caleb to throw 2 interceptions, and with a nice one interception by Darius Stingley, by the way. And they were getting after Caleb all game throughout the whole game, having him under duress, and they looking like a top unit out there. And for the Bears, it was just their offense, and Caleb being a rookie was going into a kind of a bad situation with no kind of good O line whatsoever, and now him not having time to be able to wait for plays to develop, and he can't, and him trying to improvise like he can in college, but which just can't work because these are better athletes in the NFL, which usually improvise in college might go into a completion, turn into a touchdown. Now he's trying to improvise, throw into something. Now it turned into 2 interceptions, which it did in the game. And for the offense, you can't have Caleb be your leader rusher only for 40 something yards. Like, you got to get your guys going like DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson going, and Herbert. You got to get these guys going if you want to have a similar game to help Caleb get more confidence in him and being able to push the ball down the field. And in our last game, which was the Monday night game, we had the Eagles against the Falcons, with the Falcons winning on a comeback drive late in the fourth quarter to beat the Eagles. And for the Eagles, it was just the reason why they lost was their offense not being able to convert on certain drives, get touchdowns out of drive, having that late early turnover down where they could have taken the points and could have helped them down the road. And that game sealing interception by Jalen Hurts, him trying to was him getting rushing the play and just throwing a terrible pass in the double coverage. And for the Falcons, I just got to get up to their head coach, Raheem Morris, having his guy come out there, getting ready to play, having them be competitive throughout the whole game, not having them give up, or playing hard throughout all 4 quarters. And even with that last drive, them going out there, Kirk Cousins leading them to a last drive, going out there doing what he had to do to get the win too. And that was in case you missed it, NFL Week 2. And before I go, I have some of my personal waiver wire pickups for Week 3 of fantasy football. If y'all play fantasy football, I say receiver help. Look at DeMarcus Robinson or Jordan Whittington for the Rams, Jalen Naylor for the Vikings, and Andre for the Bengals. And running back help, I say Carson Steele for the Chiefs or Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks if Kenneth Walker continue to miss time. And for if you need defense, I say any defense going against the Panthers or the Broncos would be a good safe bet for y'all. And hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe if y'all new here. And I'm out until I see y'all next week.